Mm, mm. Cool. Is we live? I keep saying is we live like it's rare podcast, but you know what? We are live on Revolution Radio. Uh, it is me, NK, aka the man of the hour, too sweet to be sour. And of course, Mekz couldn't be here, but I'm not alone. I'm joined with a friend of the show, brother of the show. Without further ado, introduce yourself, bro.
Shatless AOT podcast. Big up wrestlings every time, man. Bring up my boy. Big up my boy NK.
Yes.
He gave me the shot. He gave me the call up. I was like, yeah, call me more often, man.
Nah, for sure, but it's always a
Call me
pleasure
more
having
often.
you on Revolution Radio for sure, for sure.
Yeah, man.
But before we even get into that, the meat and potatoes of the show, let's talk about, this is not just a regular episode of Dynamite.
Mm-hmm.
Dynamite was shifted from its regular slot of Wednesday to Tuesday.
Yeah.
And boy, there was a lot of spice from both companies,
Mm-hmm.
on Twitter, but mostly the CEO, the president, Tony Khan, talking spicy online beforehand. And there was a lot of discourse going into the show about, hey, is Tony Khan doing too much? Is him promoting the show in this way taken away from the show? Is it corny? Going into Title Tuesday, what did you think about the back and forth AEW and WWE are having, but more importantly, Tony Khan's tweets before the show? Do you think they were too much, or do you think they gassed you to the point of watching the show?
So, for me personally, I can't even really say it gassed me to watch the show because I was gonna watch it anyway.
Yeah.
And the way I feel about the whole AEW WWE thing going back and forth this week, yo, I feel as though if you were gonna watch AEW, you're. I don't feel like anyone who wasn't gonna watch one of the two shows watched the other. I feel like if you were gonna watch AEW the other day, you watched it, and if you were gonna watch WWE the other day, you watched it. I think what it was more about was getting people who weren't gonna tune in regardless to then tune in. You get me?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it was a case of if we put John Cena in that, then 50,000 people who were gonna watch Dynamite are gonna watch NXT. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think it was the case of that, and I don't think. I think Tony's tweets might hurt him more than anything because now we're seeing people starting to say things like, "Oh, Tony's the same as every other promoter. Tony's this, Tony's that," and I think it just kind of got to his head a little bit because did you see his tweet earlier?
Yeah, I saw the tweet
So
earlier.
I'm just
I
like,
think that I was on board with the promoting the show, but now that the show's done, if it's not tweeting about, hey, next week's Dynamite, even if you made a tweet saying, hey, you know what, we might have lost this one, but tune into next week's card because we got something bigger and better for you, calm. But then it just got into like, petty promoter stuff, which I wasn't a fan
yeah,
of. I was like, that's beneath you. Like
yeah,
there's a line,
mm-hmm,
and he crossed it when he was like, okay, cool. When it started becoming about, hey, a personal loss rather than the show, because overall, I think this Title Tuesday show is exactly what I wanted from AEW. And honestly speaking, I look, you have to thank NXT
mm-hmm,
because I think somebody put out a great tweet. I think it was Suit Williams made a great point on Twitter where it was like the beginning of AEW was kind of like the Wednesday Night Wars inspired both promotions, but especially AEW to put their A game every time. And that direct competition is what allowed a great product to be showcased to us as fans. And like we always say, the early days of AEW were the best days of AEW, and that's partly due, yes, to the talent on board and to the storytelling, but the fact that you knew you had a product literally on at the same time you had to compete against, and that made you okay book the big matches, like the matches like a Swerve versus Danielson back in the day, the matches like a Jay White versus Hangman today. I mean, on Tuesday.
yeah,
So, and I feel like since AEW's had this time slot uninterrupted, I feel like we've kind of lost that. We kind of lost that
mm-hmm,
big match booking on Dynamite. That
yeah.
that made Dynamite special.
See, that's the thing. It was like one of the reasons why Dynamite was so attractive was because you could tune in to like Dynamite any given day, and you can see Hangman Page and Danielson go for an hour.
Yeah,
Or you can tune into Dynamite on any given day and see Hangman Page and Kenny Omega have one of the best tag team matches of the year of 2020 against the Lucha Bros.
yeah,
You get me, and it's like you can tune into a random Dynamite and you can see Kenny Omega and Pac have a 30-minute Iron Man match, and
yeah.
it's like that was part of that was the allure of AEW. And when I say indie fed, I don't say it to be like rude or disparaging. I say it as like a compliment.
Yeah.
Where the reason I loved AEW so much is because you took what everyone loves about indie wrestling and you put like a North American pro wrestling like shine on it.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I mean? And that's what made AEW so great. And I feel like they kind of deviated from that. It doesn't feel recently, it hasn't felt as AEW as it did at the beginning. I always say from the beginning of AEW until like, I think they were cold during the pandemic, so I won't even say anything about that. But coming out of the pandemic, like 2021, coming out of the pandemic, like all out times, like bro, that was like as good as it got for AEW, those 2 periods. And I feel like recently they've just leaned into too many things that aren't their identity.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's become more of a thing of they want to be competition rather than an alternative.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can be both. You can be competition through being an alternative. It can be a thing where it's like, we don't want to watch this, a certain company, so we're going to tune into this. You know what I mean? It's like, if I'm getting the same thing from the 2 major companies in the country, as a wrestling fan that I am, it kind of leaves me in a state where it's like, it makes me not even really want to watch sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I definitely agree. I feel like AEW 10, and I've been said this since Wrestle Dream, that AEW is more and more slowly coming back to the AEW of old. Obviously, there's still things up and down the show that we need to discuss. But without further ado, let's get into it, man. Let's get into Title Tuesday, man. So the show opened up with a cold open from Christian. Christian was in the production, was in the back with production, and kind of just announcing that, you know, this is his show. You know, it was great to start the show off with Christian. I think obviously with Adam Copeland joining the company, we know Christian and Adam is like the big feud in AEW right now. There's a lot of different feuds going on, but that's like the money feud, for lack of a better term. So it felt great to start off with Christian. And how have you thought about Christian's run so far? Obviously, we'll get into it in depth later on, but just like brief thoughts on like Christian and even this TNT title.
He's doing some of the best work of his career, probably the best character work of his career.
Yeah.
The promos are cold. Like even the matches haven't been like amazing. But that Derby match the other day at Wrestle Dream was crazy.
Yeah.
Like even the match at All In, like being in the stadium for the match at All, like he's had good matches. The character work is amazing, and it's. Do you know what I love so much about his character is he won the belt of Luchasaurus, and like Luchasaurus, not that Luchasaurus don't care, but it's almost as if like it's like that's big bro. Like you get me, like big bro, slime me up for my title, but like that's big bro. I can't even really say anything to him.
Yeah.
Like, even after through all of that, Luchasaurus is still kind of tagging along with him, and he's doing some of the best character work of his career. Probably the best character work in the company. I can't lie. He might be doing the best character work in North America.
For sure. I think. Even what do you think? I think it's interesting as well because we had the conversation. We've been having conversations as wrestling fans about the state of the TNT title and how for majority of the year, even since last year, the All Atlantic, All International title has been like the premier mid card title right now. And Christian has kind of added a new flavor to the TNT title. The All Atlantic through Orange Cassidy was defined by its work rate, was defined by, you know, the matches Orange Cassidy was having. But Christian has made the TNT title, not the work rate title that it used to be, but he's added a new flavor to it with the storylines and his characters and persona. Now, I want to see Christian every week so I can see him lose as a heel. So I feel like he's definitely raised the stock of that TNT title. And speaking of the TNT title, our opening match was essentially a number one contenders match, for lack of a better term. The winner of this match would go on to face Christian Cage at Saturday's Collision for the TNT title, and it was Swerve Strickland versus Bryan Danielson. I'm not a play-by-play guy. I cannot do the job as good as Mekz, so I'm cutting straight to the finish, unfortunately. Yeah, play-by-play is not my thing.
I hear it.
We got the commentators, we got the podcasters that could do that. Yeah. There's just a lot of crazy stuff in this match, but I thought this match was an excellent back and forth. Both competitors were evenly matched for the most part, but then we have the finish where like at Wrestle Dream, Prince Nana hands Swerve Strickland the headband, the tiara. I think it's the crown, so we could hit Brian Danielson with it. But Adam Page stops him from doing that. Adam Page involves himself in the match and snatches the crown, tiara, whatever you want to call it, away from Swerve Strickland. This distracts Swerve Strickland enough for Danielson to hit a Busaiku knee. And 1, 2, 3, Danielson wins the match and advances to face Christian Cage on Collision on Saturday. What were your thoughts on this match, and do you think the right man won?
One match was good match, great match. I enjoyed it. I've been doing something in my notes page where it's like I've been making a note of my favorite matches of the month. Like every time I see a good match, I put it under a certain month. And since Danielson came back, his name just keeps coming up. Like his name just since All Out. His name just keeps coming up. It's like Danielson.
Ricky Starks, to Zack Sabre Jr.
Yeah. Even the tag match, that tag match, him and Claudio against Ricky Starks and Bill, that was a good match.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think the right man won because the way they did it, so you advance the story. Because listen, Swerve was never going to pin Hangman and just move on. You know? I think they've got a good thing with that feud. And it was never going to be a case where Swerve was just going to pin him and move on. Because if you look at now, obviously we'll get to MJF and JR, but they're tied up. Christian's got his feud with Adam Copeland, and I'm not really sure what to do with Orange Cassidy because the way they put the international title, it's not really a feud belt.
Yeah,
you get me. It's not really a feud belt. So it was obvious that they were gonna have another wrestle. They were gonna have another match, and I think if they do have another match, Swerve should go over. But we'll get to that. So yeah, I knew that there was more wrinkles to this story, so I didn't think Swerve was gonna win because I also don't think you want to put Swerve in that position where it's like you put him with a Hangman Page, you hot shot him into a title shot and he loses. But then if you can kind of make him lose this match, he comes back to the Adam Page feud and you kind of run through that, you kind of flesh it out a bit more, 7 weeks till Full Gear. You can go over Adam Page again. So I think the finish was the right person won and it was the right finish. So yeah.
I'm gonna address some of the comments. Big up everyone in the live stream watching. We got WrestleMania in the building when Christian said, I'm not their leader, I'm their father. We're going to get to that. We're definitely going to get to that at the end of the show. Big up knowledge. Big up knowledge every time. Forgive me if I butcher your name. We got Mason.
Till I die. Yeah, Mason, my boy Mason.
Yeah, big up Mason. He said Hangman versus Swerve Texas Death Match at some point. Yeah, I think the Texas
Swerve don't want to see Hangman in the Texas Death.
I think,
yeah. No. Swerve don't want to see Hangman in the Texas Death.
Listen, I think Texas Death Matches have become Hangman Page's speciality. In AEW, I don't think he's lost a single Texas Death match.
Lance Archer, Adam Cole, Moxley.
Yeah, he's not lost a single one. Yeah. But I feel like if you see Adam Page in a Texas Death Match, it's a wrap. But do you think that, obviously, I think it's safe to say that we're probably building to a second match, whether we get a Full Gear or not. I think it deserves a Full Gear.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Adam Page, who do you think should win that feud? Should it be Adam Page? Should it be Swerve?
Do you know what? I want to say Swerve, but I don't trust Tony to book Swerve properly going forward.
Yeah.
I trust him to do right by Adam Page, but I don't trust him to do right by Swerve going forward. Do you know what I mean?
What makes you say that?
Just the past. Like this is the thing is, even with the whole Swerve thing, I think the reason why there should be nothing about Swerve's run that how do I word this? Not to say that doesn't excite you, but if you look at Swerve, right? Obviously, he had the feud with Keith Lee. We never even got a conclusion to that.
Yeah.
Right. Then he moves on, and he's jobbing. He lost the Battle Royal, the International Battle Royal. Then lost the rematch. Then jobbed to Darby Allin a couple times. Then lost that All In. And then it's just like, all of a sudden, he's taken on and feuding with one of the biggest stars in the company. I don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of that. But I'm just like, to my eye, he wasn't booked great leading up to this. And I know that pro wrestling's more than wins and losses, don't get me wrong, but it just kind of felt like we were hot-shotting him, you know? And it's like, how was he in Nick Wayne's crib with a shift to his neck? And then 2-3 weeks later, there's just no mention of Swerve and Nick Wayne. They built this whole thing about how Swerve and Nick Wayne are both from Seattle, how they wrestled each other on the Indies. Swerve and AR Fox have run up in his yard. We've not seen AR Fox on TV in weeks. Swerve and Nick Wayne haven't interacted in ages. And it's kind of just like, it kind of just felt like a lot of stop-start booking.
Yeah.
It felt like we kept leaving the page open with Swerve. We never really got a conclusion to the Keith Lee story. Because they were even building like a beef with Darby as well, and they intertwined it with the whole Darby, and we never really got an end to that.
Yeah,
you know I mean, obviously there was the match at All In, but it just never really seemed like a conclusive end. Do you know what I mean? Listen, I'm a big fan of Swerve. Like, I would love for Swerve to win this match against Hangman, and then go on to bigger and better things after that. But I don't know, man. I just don't really see it. I feel like Tony kind of has his guys that he likes to book a certain way. Every promoter has their guys that like to book a certain way. But I would like to see Swerve break the mold, and I would like to see Swerve go over. I would, if it was me, if I had the booking pen, Swerve would go over at Full Gear.
Yeah.
But I don't think if Swerve's gonna go over, they shouldn't have a Texas Death Match.
No.
Because if they have a Texas Death Match, I feel like Swerve has to win. But then I also don't want Hangman to lose a Texas Death Match because I want that to be Hangman's calling card. You get me?
Yeah.
Like maybe you saved up for Hangman's next feud. And also, I don't want it to be a thing where Hangman uses it every single feud. You get me? So there's a lot. I can speak about that for you. There's a lot of layers. There's a lot of layers to that one.
Yeah. But this is kind of the risk when you book two top stars against each other, which is good. I think as a promoter, you have to do it. But then it's like football. It's like when you got 2-star players, it's like who do you start, who do you bench? And in wrestling, it's like one guy's got to go over, another guy's got to. But I think right now Swerve needs it the most. Hangman is kind of. I don't think you should continue beating Hangman. I feel like if Swerve is to win this feud, you need to give Hangman a feud after this where he collects some well-earned W's. But for now, I think you've got an opportunity in elevating a new guy in Swerve. But moving on from that match, we got a vignette, I believe. We got a vignette. No, in fact, we did not get a vignette. That was later on. Did we? Yes, we got a vignette from Samoa Joe. Yeah, we got a vignette from Samoa Joe. And he was basically, these vignettes are basically saying that I want the title. I want to challenge MJF. And it was just Samoa Joe in killer mode. And the thing about Samoa Joe with this vignette, I was like, I want him to win the title. And it's like, and this is the thing, when you have one belt and you have people, this is what makes belts prized possessions. I think belts inherently by themselves are just belts. But what gives a belt value is the champion putting over the belt. It's the run the champion's on, but it's more importantly how desired the belt is.
Yeah.
And having Samoa Joe come out and say, listen, I want that prize. Having, obviously, we've got Jay White later on saying, listen, I want this belt. Adam Cole wanted the belt at a point in time, but we don't know what's going on with that. But we'll get to that as well. But yeah, these Samoa Joe video packages are great. My one question is, what do you do with Joe? Because realistically speaking, there's a lot of guys who we can name as future AEW champion. And as much as the, ROH fan in 2005, the TNA X Division fan in me would love to see Joe win the big one, I think in the pecking order, he's not that high up.
Yeah.
So what do we do with Joe at this point in time? Because let's face it, he's got the Ring of Honor TV title, but do we care? Not really.
Not really.
What do we do with Joe, man?
I honestly don't know. You don't put the title on him. I don't think you put the title on Joe. I think Joe can be kind of like a big boss on the way to the title. I think maybe this is just me booking off the cuff. Swerve goes over Hangman at Full Gear. And Hangman, we tell a story of Hangman needed to find himself and whatever. And then you have Joe, where it's like Joe's trying to get there and Hangman's trying to get back there. And they're kind of clawing at each other to try to get above. I don't know, maybe you do something there with Joe and Hangman. You give both of them like a fresh feud. I've not really seen Joe and Hangman interact much. But it's more just about getting a top star with another top star. And then at least in that situation, you know that you can put Hangman over because obviously Joe's the older statesman. But then you also give Joe a high profile feud and book him like a top guy,
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
But that's just me spitballing.
Yeah. I thought I have no idea what to do with Joe. I just want to see Joe on TV and collect some wins. I feel like collect
Yeah.
some wins, whether it's on a collision, whether it's on a. You have two shows now. You have two main shows and then one show where you can like build other storylines from. So yeah, have him collect some wins. But the next match we got was Chris Jericho versus Powerhouse Hobbs, Will Hobbs. And to cut a long story short, for the most part, this match was one-way traffic. I mean, this is one of the most dominant performances I've seen Will Hobbs have. Especially against a top guy, for sure. This is I think this is the biggest win of Will Hobbs' AEW career so far. I think that's safe
Yeah.
to say.
Yeah. I mean, it depends. Like I say, it depends how much you value titles. I'm not that big on titles. It's whatever. So yeah, I would say it's probably the biggest win of his AEW career, especially the way he won it. And it's
For
like
sure.
now we're saying we're putting Will Hobbs in a position where he's going to be feuding with the likes of Kenny Omega and the Chris Jerichos of the world, and obviously the Young Bucks will come into that. So it's like we're putting Will Hobbs kind of in the shop window. New attire as well. He come out no singlet. He's got the trunks.
Yeah.
So you got a bit of a new look for him. Yeah, man, I like it. I like where they're going with this. AEW have always kind of struggled to build big men.
Yeah.
It's not really their MO. And it's funny, we say big man, but if he was in, like we'll just say if he was in WWE, for instance,
he's not that big.
He would even really be considered as a big man. He'd be kind of just like,
Because even in the main event, obviously we'll get to that, but I was shocked to see that Adam Copeland was at the same height as Luchasaurus.
Yeah.
But Luchasaurus is like a giant in AEW. And then Adam Copeland was like an average sized guy in WWE because you got 6'9" dons like Taker and all of these man.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, it's crazy to see. But with Will Hobbs, I think I'm happy this is a departure from the QT TV stuff because I thought that stuff was absolutely beneath him and did not serve him at this point. But a question I do have is we've seen Will Hobbs go from faction to team to fact. We've never seen Will Hobbs truly independent. And I wonder, is that because he doesn't have the capacity to? They don't believe he has the capacity to? Like this Don Callis family stuff is a hot feud right now in AEW. It's a good feud. I won't say hot. It's a good feud right now in AEW. But once this ends, I don't see him being with Callis forever. Do we see Will Hobbs like going solo and eventually spreading his wings? I feel at a certain point in time you can't just keep jumping from faction to faction. You have to like cement yourself as a solo star on your own.
I just don't know if they trust him, and it's not because I've heard anything. It's because the proof's in the pudding,
Mm-hmm.
It's like we keep putting him in faction. It was team ties, and it was this, and it was that, and it's like if it was that, you would leave him on his own. They've even tried to give Wardlow a singles run.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Trust me, we will get to that.
So it's like, what are they? Number one, not seeing, or number two, seeing that saying nah. There obviously something's going on where they're like, nah, it's not that. Like he needs to, you get me? Because they did kind of try. Because even with the whole QT thing, they kind of distanced him from it for a little bit. And he had the kind of thing with Miro, and they had the match All Out,
which was great.
Yeah, it was a good match. Proper host match, yeah. But then obviously now they've hot shot him back into another faction. Excuse me. So it's like, yeah, I just think there's something there where they just maybe don't trust him, or maybe don't think he can do it on his own. I don't know. It's any explanation because it's like, why do you keep hot shotting him from faction to faction?
Yeah. We've got a comment here from Knowledge. Tony Khan just announced Mystico is working Rampage next week versus Rocco Romero. Politically very interesting. Is Mystico Knowledge? Can you tell us, is Mystico CMLL?
Yeah, he's literally the biggest star in CMLL.
Yeah. It is interesting.
He is there. He is the golden boy right now. From what I've heard and seen, I don't watch a lot of CMLL, but Mystico is that guy. Booking. Oh, Tony, man, fuck's sake. Do you know what? Yeah, if Mystico's as big a star as I think he is in Mexico, he should be working Dynamite. Like the same way Vikingo got that spot against Kenny.
Mystico should
be getting a spot like that.
Yeah,
that Knowledge can probably speak on it better than I can, because I watch a lot of wrestling, but I don't have time to watch everything. But yeah, mystical on a rampage against Rocky Romero. It should be mystical on a Dynamite against Danielson, or mystical on a Dynamite against, Page. Mystical on a Dynamite against, you know what I mean? Like, it shouldn't be mystical on a rampage against Rocky Romero. I don't know, man. I don't know.
I don't know. It is, and I know CML have an interesting relationship. Obviously, Rocky Romero is probably the New Japan link because CML have a good relationship with New Japan. Knowledge says, yeah, Hall of Famer. So
yeah,
Hall of Famer for sure. But yeah, let's get back to Dynamite. So up next we had one of the Brochacho vignettes. So in this vignette we had Cole with Roderick Strong. Cole was sending him to cut grass. Cole cuts grass for him. Cole says he needs to change his t-shirt, but Strong has a shirt. Cole said he wants to watch Dynamite, but there's no TV in his house. Cole said he's going to get surgery. Cole tells him he needs one more thing from Roderick Strong, and then we cut away. Let's talk about Brochachos, bro. Let's talk
we
about
have to.
Let's discuss because I think at first I was on board. Do you know what? I'll be real. Even though it was sports entertainment stuff, I can't lie, I was feeling it. I was feeling it a little. Like, it was cool, it was funny, it was entertaining because I feel like it added to the story of, hey, MJF and Adam Cole, and it was a nice, little twist to the can they coexist storylines that we see in wrestling a million times. It's like, okay, we know these storylines are overdone, so we're gonna add a little flavor, a little, and it made sense. And I thought the culmination would be at All In. Right? Where we'd see. That's why I was very shocked when they won the tag team titles, but they didn't. They didn't change the titles, and they still kept their friendship, which I was like, okay, where do we go from here? Now, obviously, the story's kind of been hampered by the fact that Adam Cole is injured. But I'm saying Adam Cole is injured, but you're keeping him on TV a lot.
It's a work.
A lot. And they haven't stripped MJF and Adam Cole of their tag team titles. I know it's Ring of Honor, but like if this is an ankle injury, legit, Cole will be out for at least 5 to 6 months, at least.
Yeah, it's a work. I think the injuries are work.
Yeah. But overall, like Mekz says the worst vignette in this story, after Cole started cutting grass, I don't even know what happened. I tuned out as well. And I will say this, This goes back to the Tuesday Night Wars, right? Even in the presentation of their respective products, each product exemplified what they stand for. WWE's for spectacle, WWE's for the big, larger-than-life characters. That's why they had the Codys, the Undertakers, the Cenas come down to NXT. AEW is, like you said, the indie fed on a massive scale. We're here for pro wrestling as its simplest at its finest. Don't get me wrong. There's always crossover. There's always things that you can always take from companies. But I say all this to say, when AEW tried to imitate WWE, it's not good. It's rarely good. And this feels like only a segment WWE can get with. And I'll be very honest, I think WWE would do it at least a bit better.
They would.
They would do it a lot better. So I feel like when it gets into this territory, it feels self-indulgent. It feels it doesn't feel like it's even. I know what story they're telling. So where, hey, Adam Cole was caught between both worlds, MJF and Roderick Strong. That's fine, but I feel like now they're making clowns of the characters. In my opinion, it's gone beyond the point of, hey, we're telling a story, and it's like, hey, it feels like an SNL skit.
NK, me and you talk a lot of wrestling, innit?
Yeah.
Who's my favorite faction of all time?
Undisputed Era.
Can you name me the 2 members of Undisputed Era?
What like most?
No, that was in that vignette. Adam Cole and Roderick Strong, yeah?
Yeah.
Do you know how much this has paid in me? These vignettes every week are paying me. I'm like, bro, these two gave me like some of my favorite matches and moments ever in wrestling. My favorite wrestling match of all time is like Roderick Strong's my favorite wrestling match of all time. And now I'm seeing this and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, these lot weren't even doing this cartoon stuff when they were in WWE.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's like, listen, man, when the whole Adam Cole MJF thing started, I was like, yeah, do you know what? It's something different. It's a twist on the whole can they coexisting. Even after that time limit draw they had on Dynamite, I was like, do you know what? Banger. One of my favorite matches of the year. We're going places with it. Now it's gotten to the point where it's like you said, it should have been deaded off at All In. It just feels mad self-indulgent now. It feels like they're drawing it out. I'm not even really sure where they're going with it. It's like these skits that I'm like, why are we at Roddy's crib? We don't need to be at Roddy's crib.
Yeah.
You get me? Like, what are we doing? Like, we're not. I don't feel like I guess they're progressing the story, but it's just not doing anything for me. It's just not doing anything for me.
Here's the thing. Ultimately speaking, what we should be building to is Roderick Strong versus MJF. If we're going to continue after All In, right? The storyline, because I think, okay, I understood why they continued after All In. I think the storyline should be, hey, Adam Cole is caught between both worlds. Roderick has his eyes on the title. Then you create tension that way, because now you have both of Adam Cole's boys beefing, and he has to pick a side. Does he pick Roderick Strong? Does he pick MJF? And that doesn't need to be a pay-per-view match. You can still do like the Jay White match at Full Gear. That could be a match. Heck, if you wanted to, as much as I love Samoa Joe, I think Roderick Strong versus MJF should have been the match at Grand Slam.
Yeah, me too.
In my personal opinion.
Me too.
I think that should have been the match at Grand Slam, because that match has story importance. It would have been a great match, but it had story significance. Then you continue the story, because now it's like the Kingdom are joke, man. Roderick Strong's a joke, man. MJF was starting to be a joke, man, but I feel like Bullet Club Gold have pulled him out of a bad situation and given the title a bit of seriousness. But yeah, I think right now these vignettes aren't doing anything, and I feel like the Brochacho stuff it's done for me. Like, I'm tired. Let's address the comments. Big up Mr. Throw Ups. We can't have a cheesy vignette every week. It's too cheesy even for wrestling. I agree. Yeah. I agree. I feel like wrestling is wacky, but then there's suspension of disbelief. There's overindulgence. There's a limit. Everything is good in moderation. Too much of something is a bad thing. And already this is not what we're accustomed to. But you know what? It started off good. Well, I just think crib it. I think crib it. Still, don't crib the story. Just pivot. Tell the story in a different way, because there's a story worth telling there.
I feel like if they had done MJF and Roddy at Grand Slam, you can tell the story of MJF re-injuring Roderick's neck, and now Adam Cole kind of has to choose a side, because it's like his best friend's injured his other's best friend's neck.
Yes.
Like, that story was right there to be told. You know? And then I think the whole thing that Samoa Joe's doing now would still work, because he never got the shot.
Exactly.
You get me? So now it's a thing where it's like he's chasing the shot.
Exactly.
Because when you've already had your shot and you lost, it's kind of like, bro, you lost in it.
Yeah.
But it's like if Samoa Joe never got the shot, and it could even been a thing where it's like the Kingdom helped Roddy Strong win.
Yeah.
And then Samoa Joe's like, oh, I'm aggrieved. I never got my title shot. I wasn't beaten fairly, whatever. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. But the whole thing, it shouldn't be a thing where it's like, and it's not Jinder, innit? That's not what I'm going with this. But it's like, Jinder's the last time where it was like, I was watching a product and I was actively uninterested in the title. Now, I'm not saying I was ever uninterested in the AEW title, but there's been a few times with these vignettes and with these promos where I'm just like, I'm on my phone, I'm just looking at my nails, I'm like, you know?
These segments are skippable.
Yeah.
But we'll move on. We'll get back to the graps. So the next match was AEW International Championship match. We had Rey Fenix versus Orange Cassidy. Rey Fenix versus Orange Cassidy. I saw this match on paper. Obviously, this match was supposed to be Rey Fenix versus Jon Moxley. I think Jon Moxley is still suffering from either the concussion or he's injured. Now, this match kind of didn't get going. I mean, the match was decent, but you could clearly see Rey Fenix was injured. And the finish was Orange Cassidy regains his all international title. this is an unfortunate situation, and obviously, like, I don't like hot potatoes, but in this circumstance, it's a situation where
You kind of had to.
you kind of have to. But what I would say is, I don't know how I feel about Orange Cassidy winning the title so soon after he lost it to Moxley. It's not just the fact that he lost it to Moxley. I felt like that match with Moxley was the perfect end to a reign. Absolute perfection. And now you spun the coupe again. And now we're going to get a rematch between the two. And they'll have a good match, but I just feel like that was the perfect, like, pin on that story.
Yeah.
In this scenario, obviously it's circumstantial and it's due to injury. But do you think they could have picked someone else to face Felix? Because it's clearly to see that Felix wasn't fit to hold the
I
title.
feel like you have to pick someone else because it kind of negates the effect of a blaze of glory.
Yeah.
You know? Now, if you want to pivot and say Cassidy had the title and got all these injuries and stuff, but managed to wrestle through them and retain. Moxley got the title, got injured, dropped it. Phoenix got the title, got injured, dropped it. And then it's a thing where it's like, I don't know, only Orange Cassidy can deal with the physical demands of the title. I don't know if you want to spin it like that some way. Do you know what? It's hard for me to criticize because obviously it's circumstantial. And if no one got injured and everything went to plan, then Moxley would have never dropped the title in the first place.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah, Mekz is right. This was not the way to make him a two-time champion.
Nah, for sure. Like, I wouldn't have had Orange Cassidy touch this title for a long time. Heck, I would have. This is just off the cuff. But if you want to, like, connect the title to Orange Cassidy, I mean, Hook is right there.
Yeah.
Hook's doing stuff. Hook's not doing. Obviously, he's got the FTW title, but I feel like they should. I think they should have scrapped that title. At All In. I think once Hook won it back, it's like, I'm retiring this title on behalf of my father. I'm the last ever person to hold it. I'm moving on to bigger and better things. Because now the FTW title it was never a thing to begin with, but now
it's not even recognized. It's not even recognized by AEW.
It's a weird. But then it's like you've got guys like, for example, and obviously this is just me fantasy booking, but you've got guys like Andrade that you could heat up. You've got guys like Roosh you could heat up. You've got guys like Buddy Matthews, Malachi Black. Like, there's a plethora of talent that you could have easily thrown in this position of Ray Felix and be like, hey, hold the title. Hold the title. And hold the title till Moxley comes back. Because even if, someone like a Buddy Matthews, right, holds the title until full gear or post full gear. Cool. We know this is a stopgap, but it's an interesting stopgap. I'm not saying Orange Cassidy isn't interesting, but we've literally just told that story. And that story, in my opinion, is not going to get any better. It ended perfectly.
Yeah.
It's a movie that don't need a sequel anytime soon.
So then what do? Do you tell the same story? Do you tell a new story? Like, I don't...
Yeah. I don't know what we do with that. But Mekz had a comment earlier in reference to the Brochacho stuff. Don't be too down on it. This is what makes me think the injury is real. They're using this to fill time. But yeah, I think that's enough on the Orange Cassidy stuff. Now we get to more vignettes. RJC interviews Toni Storms, who says there's not enough cinema and she made a short film that played. Now, I was watching this through the fight stream where everything is in full screen. Now, apparently this bit works better in picture because it's kind of it's not there to be taken seriously or there to fill time. I love this timeless Tony gimmick, don't get me wrong, but what was this? I thought, do you know what I thought the short silent film would be? I thought the silent film would be, okay, I'm going to lay out my agenda. Do you know what they could have done, right? If they really wanted to be creative, right? Do a silent film. Have Tony, let's say, go out, pretend to be in a ring, pretend to pin a random jobber and hold up a fake title and be like, hey, this is what I want. Basically, the silent film for me should have told me Tony Storm's motivations. That would have been a cool and quirky way to establish, okay, what does Toni Storm want and fill time? Because again, this wasn't picture in picture. But there was not, it was just literally her. I was like, this is pointless. This is actually pointless.
Look, man,
Yeah.
She's really nice to look at, bro, but it's not that. It's like, bro, I'll be real. Like, because I even came in I was like, bro, this is what the fuck? I was like, what is this? I was like, I'm going to wring Tony Khan's neck. I'm like, and then there was two of them.
It was two of them.
It was two of them.
Man.
And the thing is, I'm watching it on the fight stream as well, so it's full screen. I'm like, come on, dog. Like, this is not my AEW, bro. Like, this is not my country. I'm like, what is that, man? I love the gimmick. I love the gimmick because it kind of reminds me of. It's like I think they kind of did something similar. Do you know when Stone Cold turned heel and started doing all of this weird stuff because like his brain couldn't comprehend the fact that he was friends with Vince McMahon. It's kind of similar where it's like she's lost the title and she's so like warped. The betrayal of her. Obviously, Saraya sprayed the can in her face, and the betrayal and losing her friends has like turned her crazy. Like I love that trope of like betrayal and loss turning you into something. So I think the gimmick is amazing, and I'm proper enjoying the gimmick. Even like last week when she was like, when she turned to the camera and broke the fourth wall, and she was like, "We'll be back after these messages." Like, but that was some bullshit.
Yeah, no,
that was some bullshit. You know, it was like you know, like when a little kid is like, "Oh, watch this," and
yeah. No, that was nonsense.
Oh,
we won't even cover the second one because it was more of the same. So we'll just crypt Tony Storm's segments for now and move on. We have another big man that's been, arguably misused. Arguably, we have Wardlow. Man. We have and Wardlow faced Matt Sydal. Another squash match. Powerbomb Symphony's back, except he's not chanting the crowd. And I guess with Wardlow right now, it's I think they're positioning him as a heel because he's not interacting with the crowd. He's not acknowledging the crowd in the first place.
Do you know what I've noticed?
Yeah.
They're not using jobbers.
No.
They're not using jobbers.
I mean,
when I say jobbers, these are guys who never. The thing is, we're aware of who he is, though.
Matt Sydal.
Yeah, come on, like he's one of the greatest of the indies. Like, look, when I say not using jobbers,
in recent AEW programming, like I'd agree if this was like because they used to use Matt Sydal in early AEW a lot.
Yeah.
But I can't remember the last time I saw my man on TV.
Okay, let me rephrase. What I mean is, it's not nameless creator wrestler from 2K.
First, you
get me?
Yeah.
When I say they're not using jobbers, I mean they're not using like who was it that had a squash the other day? Like even when Britt Baker was having them squashes, the random squashes Britt Baker was having a few months ago, they were just random regional. It was just random regional talent or whatever.
Yeah,
but they're actually using people that we know. That's what I mean when I say they're jobbers, but I mean they're not jobbers to the point where it's like we know who these people are. That these people have a rap sheet, obviously Griff Garrison, but these people have some kind of rap sheet with AEW. We know. Do you know what I mean? Well, there you go.
Next, as you guys say with some deep, and this really don't sound like AEW. Do you know what it is? I feel like 80% of this show was AEW, but the two things that weren't AEW, especially the Bochacho stuff and Tony Storm, stood out like a sore thumb. And that's the thing. I feel like when we have these criticisms, I feel like criticism is important. But to put it into perspective, I feel like we're going to be I'm going to be very complimentary about the rest of the show. But them two segments there, that's not AEW. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, bro. But that's not AEW.
Nah, it's all good. It's all good.
That's not AEW.
Yeah. Nah, you're right, man. But yeah, I was just saying it's interesting that they're actually using name talent is what I should say.
Yeah.
They're using talent that we know, talent that we might see again, or talent we've seen in the past. Not Joe Schmo from, you know what I mean, from the YMCA, who does a frog splash into a crash mat twice a week. Do you know what I mean? Like it's actual name talent. That's what I mean. I just thought it was interesting.
Yeah,
I just thought it was interesting.
So obviously Wardlow's now going through the crowd. I think they're trying to position him as a heel. And you know what? I feel like the way they're presenting him now is kind of the way I wish they presented him as a babyface, in terms of powerbomb, like basically almost. It feels like Goldberg. And I know the comparison between Wardlow and Goldberg are quite shallow, but the thing that attracted me to WCW Goldberg was like, this guy would wreak havoc, not say a word, and leave. And I felt like the problem with Wardlow's babyface run is that they tried to make him relatable when he should not be relatable in any way, shape, or form. he should be an absolute like. I feel like what AEW struggle to do is book monsters, like people who are just like. Because I feel like they know how to book a cowardly heel, they know how to book a sympathetic babyface. I think AEW book babyfaces extremely well. But with a guy like Wardlow, the traditional sympathy tax babyface don't work.
Mm-hmm.
You need to have him be a badass. And I feel like what this is going to do, I don't know if people are down on Wardlow, but I think if they manage to spice things up and not do the Powerbomb Symphony too much, I think if they just have him come and destroy and then leave, that probably might get him over, which might not be what they want.
See, the thing is with Wardlow and the babyface when he was when he moved away from MJF and was turning face. When you've got a monster, I don't really. How else do you get a monster heel and turn him into a babyface in that position without using sympathy? Because you can't beat him down. He's 6'4", 280. Do you know what I mean?
But then I think of guys like, how did Batista get over? Even though Batista wasn't exactly a monster.
Yeah.
You just have them wreck shop.
It wasn't necessarily sympathy with Batista, but do you remember when it was like Batista got over because they started to sow those Caesar Descent in Evolution, where he kind of saw the way Triple H did Randy Orton and started looking at him sideways. Then he won the Royal Rumble, and Triple H was trying to manipulate him. So it was still not necessarily sympathy, but I feel like it has to be psychological.
But they did that.
You can't do it physically.
But they did that in the beginning of MJ, because remember the whole CM Punk thing when Wardlow took off the ring. I feel like the build to that Wardlow versus MJF match, Wardlow was at its peak. Wardlow was super hot. And post that, it was like, and I agree, there were dumb segments like having Wardlow face 10 security guards for no reason.
Yeah.
Even though
having him cut his hair, having him talk about his dad and having long hair, and I'm like,
it was just like, bro, like we're not here for this. Like I wanted.
Because it was not to cut you off, G, but you know what it was? It was after they got him over. Now we can, like I said, we can debate how they got him over, but he was over. Yeah. After Double or Nothing, he was over. There should have been no promos. There should have been no sympathy. There should have been nothing. It should have just been, now I'm a destroyer. I'm a babyface, stoic destroyer. But they tried to continue with the Samoa Joe cut my hair, and that's the only connection I have to my dad, and this and that. And it's like, yo, look, rest in peace to your pops. But it's not that.
It should have been. Listen, I think the way you book a guy like Wardlow as a face is you book guys like that where they mind their business, but once you provoke them, they go mad. So Wardlow minds his business, somebody provokes him, and he starts powerbombing man off stages. That's about it. Obviously, get your heat, have the heels get their heat back and cheat and whatever. But I think going forward, are you still invested in Wardlow? That's the question.
No,
do you want to let it play out, or at this point, is he damaged goods for you?
No. I'm sorry, no. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I'm just not.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just can't get behind it. Pause. I can't. I'm sorry. I'm not believing. I'm sorry, bro. If he proves me wrong, he proves me wrong, and fair enough. But as of right now, my stance is no. I'm not really investing in Ward, bro. No.
Cool. There's a lot to discuss, man. There's a lot to discuss. All right, cool. Let's get to the next match. We have Adam Hangman Page versus JY. This is a match as soon as JY signed to AEW. This is like one of the top matches I wanted to see him in. And this match was good. I don't think it was as good as Swerve and Danielson.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought, you know what? This match was good, and they definitely left a lot on the table for like a future match. I'd want to see this on the pay-per-view for sure. But man,
I think this is something they're going to pick up. You can always tell.
Yeah.
You can always tell.
And speak like even Jay White, like I think when he first joined AEW, the first couple of weeks were like, what the hell was going on with my man? It's like even Juice. I put him with Juice. I was against it, but even Juice right now he's cooking.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna put a disclaimer out there. When we get to Jay White's promo, there's a certain thing that is brought up. I think for the interest of the show, I don't have the capacity to tackle that topic in depth.
I hear you. Okay, I got you, bro. I got you.
So yeah, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But I feel, just Jay White, his direction was kind of like wayward a bit. But then putting him with Bullet Club Gold, even him with this title right now, and I think he looks so natural as a champion, and I think part of that is due to like the Botrato stuff holding MJF back, but also in these promo segments,
He's cooking him.
he's come
He's
out.
cooking him.
Yeah, bro. Like I'm like, what? And I'm
Him.
someone. Full disclaimer: I've always rated Jay White, but Jay White's never been like one of my top guys. He's never been one of my favorite guys in terms of like. Even in New Japan, I rated him, but I just thought when people were like, "Oh, he's won bare championship, this and that," I just never thought we had that incredible defining run that other guys have had in it. But that's just me personally, in it. But right now in AEW, I'm just like, Jay White's the man.
Yeah,
he's absolutely mad.
Do you know what they've done with Jay White? They've done it's tried and tested. You take a guy who you want to put in the main event, or a guy you want to put in the shop window, and you put him in the heel faction. It always works. It always works. AJ in New Japan, Adam Cole in NXT, The Rock with Nation of Domination, Triple H, like Jay White with Bullet Club Gold. Like it always works, and I feel that's like a break glass in case of emergency booking strategy, where you take like your star and you put him with like credible guys. These are credible guys. Like I like the Guns. I think the Guns are cool. I don't think they're amazing. They're not FTR, but the Guns are cool. And I'm a fan of Juice. I've been a fan of Juice since the Moxley matches in Japan. That's when I became aware of him. So I feel like they've surrounded him with like good stock. Listen, if Jay White wins the title at Full Gear, bro,
I am mad at it.
I would not complain at all.
I
would
not
not complain at all.
I'm
Because
not mad at it.
honestly, with the way they've presented Adam Cole since he's come back, I would rather Jay White as my champion. I would rather Jay White as my champion.
That's interesting.
Adam Cole to me. So my thing is this, yeah. In kayfabe, wrestling is real. So when I'm watching wrestling, I'm thinking, is this guy a threat? Is this guy dangerous? I don't get that from Adam Cole. You get me? And it's not even a babyface heel thing. Because I know Kenny Omega's dangerous. I know the way they've, like, for instance, right, Hangman. The way they book Hangman is dangerous. You get me? Like, Hangman has that babyface fire. To me, Adam Cole doesn't have that thing where it's like, if he's champion, yeah, like he can be a dominant champion. But Jay White, to me, has that fire. Where it's like, yeah, if Jay White's my champion, I can see him holding the belt for a while. I can see him beating Kenny. I can see him pinning Danielson. You get me? But I don't see that. Adam Cole isn't, to me, the way Adam Cole's being booked. They've not booked him as someone that I could get behind as my champion. You get me?
I think as a heel, we'd see, and that's what I was hoping for in the anyway. But I thought, but we'll get back to the match. So Jay White wins the match. Swerve, I think no, Prince Nana interferes in the finish of the match that cost Hangman the match, which obviously continues Hangman Page and Swerve's feud. MJF comes out and finally cuts an impassioned promo. This is the real MJF.
Yeah.
It's not his best work, but it felt like, okay, finally. Because I felt
like his best promo in weeks.
Yes, in weeks. I think it's best promo in weeks. Since the initial, I think I did like the initial Jay White and MJF promo. Even though I thought Jay White got the better of him in that promo, I did like that one.
This was better.
I don't know. See, I'm not as down on Tofu. I'm down on Tofu because he tried to get over as a chant. Yeah. But if you in the context of the original promo, the Tofu thing made sense because he was comparing the trajectory of their two careers.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, wow, like basically you're only good because of the people that surround you, aka Bullet Club Gold, your Tofu. Fine, cool. But I digress. He cut an impassioned promo about wanting his belt back. Like I said, we ain't talking about Juice, but we're just we ain't talking about that. But but I feel like this is exactly what MJF wanted to. I want to see from MJF. And I remember last week MJF put out a tweet basically acknowledging that, hey,
that was some bullshit.
Yeah. And it's kind of, I appreciate when wrestlers can do that because not every wrestler is going to hit a 10 out of 10 out of the park, innit? But I feel like the response from a lot of these wrestlers, is to call us marks and call us this. And I get it because these wrestlers yeah, we are marks. I get it. Like you might not getting added by bot accounts or getting added by stand accounts every day. So it's easy just to dismiss valid criticism and lump it in with the rest of them, man, because you're getting bombarded every day in it. But the
Yeah.
fact that MJF like took time to discern, okay, this is something that people aren't happy about. Let me pivot. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate that from MJF, man. I can't lie. And I'm even happy just how early they're building this. Like Full Gear is what, November, right?
Yeah, Full Gear 18th, November 18th.
Bro, and they're building this from early. This is again, the show just feels unified. The show feels unified. Why it's unified? I've got my conspiracy theories. Certain man have been kicked out of locker rooms and stuff like that. So you can promote across both shows. But that's just my conspiracy theory there. But yeah, the show just feels unified, innit? So yeah, man. Listen, I've very much enjoyed this Jay White and MJ feud, and long may it continue, man. Long may it continue.
Yeah, for real.
So we've got the women's world championship match next. We have got Saraya versus Hikaru Shida. I feel like today is just addressing. Do you know what it is? I feel like every segment I have something to say. Hikaru Shida won. He's now a 3-time AEW Women's Champion. But let's talk about it. Why the hell did Saraya win at All In?
Cheap pop.
That was nasty. And I said this in my AEW vlog. I don't know if I edited this part out. It should be out there. When Saraya won, I said, I don't like this. Because there was already going into All In, I felt like Saraya being that match wasn't undeserved, but there was no heat. There was no, she was the least interesting part of that match. And this is somebody who I was a Paige fan. When Paige debuted in WWE, I was a fan.
I remember that episode of Raw. Vividly remember. It was a Raw after Mania, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that episode of Raw vividly.
I was a fan of Paige, and obviously Paige got injured, and then the whole women's revolution, whatever you want to brand it as, happened in WWE.
Yeah.
And I think Paige signaled, okay, a transition from the Divas era to actually taking women's wrestling seriously.
Yeah.
And then the 4 horsewomen and the crop of talent that came after that was, okay, Bun being taken seriously. We're here. We can have match of the nights like the men. Do you know what I'm saying? People like Sasha Banks and Bayley.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've got people like Bianca Belair and so on and so. So women's wrestling has come a long way, and you can say she's the catalyst. She was the beginning steps of that.
She's one of her and AJ Lee, I would say. I would say when you talk about obviously we talk about the 4 horsewomen, and rightly so. Listen, Paige and AJ Lee are just as important.
Yeah. But would you say, okay, it's unfair to say, because obviously we know she's been suffering with injuries. Would you say wrestling-wise, the style of wrestling has passed her by, where everyone is wrestling to a standard right now that unfortunately she may not be able to keep up with? Or do you think it's the injuries that have just taken it away from her?
I think the injuries have taken it away from her. And I think the injuries taken away from her. And I know people might say, oh, but look at Edge. Edge is a completely different situation.
Yeah.
Because not only is Edge just better than her, but Edge was wrestling for about 20 years before he got injured.
Yeah.
Then when he comes out of injury, you've still got, even though it was not 9 years, you still have 20 years of muscle memory. But then all you're doing is going back into the WWE style that hadn't changed that much since you were gone. And then now you've had 3 years to kind of get that tread back your tires before you come to AEW. So it's like, it's not the same with her, because she was so young when she got injured. She's still only now, I don't even think she's 30 years old yet. She's still so young.
Yeah.
I just feel like athletically and in terms of the working style, because AEW doesn't blanket you the way WWE does. You're very much left out to dry a bit more of AEW because the working style is so different. I just feel like it's passed her by. I feel like athletically she's not quite there. She looks slow when she moves around the ring. It's just not.
Yeah.
I don't want to be mean in it. I don't want to be mean because I do like Saraya, and I know that Ricky Knight's a friend of the show, etc. I don't want to be mean, but I just kind of feel like it's passed her by.
Yeah. Do you feel like AEW have kind of left her, have done her disservice by the way they've booked her?
think they've probably given her a bit more rope than they should have.
Jamie
Hayter, who I adore, took a back seat to this bullshit outcast stuff.
Yeah.
While she was champion.
Yeah.
I feel like, if anything, they've put her too much to the forefront, where she should have, at least for the first part of her run, should have come in, kind of taken the elder stateswoman role, got some reps, worked some matches, but it was straight away, you want to come in, you want to beat Britt Baker, who's probably the biggest name in the division, your first match back, you want to do this, you want to do that, and it's like, I kind of feel like it was too much too soon. I do feel like it was too much too soon for her. The run, like, what's your favorite match from her run?
This.
It's not saying much.
It's not saying much, but probably this.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't have a favorite match from her run, and I feel even pivoting to Hikaru Shida is a 3-time champion. Is great, but to me, she's only a 1-time champion.
Yeah.
The only run that I recognize is the pandemic run, which was still to this day the gold standard of women's of AEW women's title runs, and that run was good because it played to Hikaru Shida's strength. You had obviously the title tournament. Even I remember stuff like what the hell happened to the tournament they were doing in Japan for the women's division. I remember, even though due to the constrictions of the pandemic, the tournament wasn't panned out the greatest. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But now we're out of the pandemic, and I was so disappointed when they stopped doing that, because the use of imports is important. We've seen what it's done for Forbidden Door, for example. And I'm not saying it doesn't necessarily have to be Japanese women. It's like you could use so many different women to bolster that division where, okay, you might not have women who can, wrestle these 5-star classics or whatever. Take some women from Japan, take some women from here, like AEW. And I feel like Hikaru Shida, I was excited when she won the title the first time this year, because I was like, okay, cool. She's going to go into All In, go in as champion, and so on and so forth. And now it's like she lost the title, which I was very annoyed about. And Saraya only had like 1 title defense. And it's like, you just put it back on Hikaru Shida. And my fear is for her to lose it again, because I feel like a certain Mercedes is pulling up to full gear. Yep. And I feel like they wanted to do Mercedes versus Saraya, but I feel like they don't trust Saraya in that spot. And now Hikaru Shida has kind of been the reliable person, which is in the bad connotation, where it's like, oh, just throw Hikaru Shida out there. She can eat a pin, but she's credible enough to be in these positions. And it's like, she's better than that.
Yeah, she definitely is better than that. She's needs more respect than that.
She's 100%. Better than that. And I'm like, fair enough, you're going to get Mercedes in, but if this was the plan, I would not have had a problem with this if you had just kept the title on her from All In to now, because she won it maybe 2 weeks before All In. If you'd given her like a short run from here to All In to Grand Slam, and then get to Full Gear, All In, All Out, Grand Slam, Full Gear, give her a healthy one, then have Mercedes beat her, no problem with that.
So do you think Mercedes is, sorry to cut you off, but do you think Mercedes is going to pull up soon then? Because if she's pulling up soon, you're either, because you're not gonna take the belt of Shida this quickly. So you're either going to throw Mercedes into a feud with Saraya and hope that the feud carries it rather than the title, or you're just going to wrongfully crib Shida again and make her drop the belt to Mercedes, which is wrong.
I'm going to get to Mercedes. So they just big up MAA. Where do you see Tony Storm fitting in this conversation as well? And I'll answer this question now. Tony Storm, I think, take away from the women's title picture, I feel maybe TBS. I think we need to put some seasoning on that one, but maybe that's fit for Julia Hart. Who knows?
Yeah.
But back to your point of where do I see, I just think the Mercedes Saraya feud doesn't have legs, because I feel like, I'll be real, I don't think that many people are currently invested in Saraya. And I feel like this is one of the few times I think her star power is diminished.
Yeah.
She's not a draw for me anymore. And I feel like for a lot of people, she's not a draw for her anymore. I would say run Britt Baker. I can't lie.
And Mercedes.
Run Britt Baker and Mercedes immediately. run it.
Okay. Yeah.
And I understand, and I feel bad because it means Britt Baker's going to take another loss, and I feel like they've really pushed back Britt Baker. And I think a lot of that, I think Tony Khan's chronically online, and I think he's seen a lot of like the anti-Britt Baker rhetoric. He's like, okay, let me strip her off TV, ban that, fam. People who were here during the pandemic knows what Britt Baker did for that women's division, fam. She carried it on her back.
Her and Thunder Rosa were cooking.
Yeah.
Her and Thunder Rosa were cooking. I can't lie.
Yeah. So I feel like run her and Britt Baker. Britt Baker's the biggest star. If you want to take her out of a feud, and this is what the feud needs to be. Forget rivalries. Forget. I'm Mercedes Moné. I've come to bless AEW, so on and so forth, and have Britt Baker say, "I'm the biggest star of the." Who's the biggest star of the company? We all know it's Mercedes, right?
Yeah.
But Britt Baker can spin the angle and say, "You ain't won anything here. You've been out of wrestling for how long? I've been holding down the fort in this red tear. Do you know what I'm saying? Just simple story of, okay, who's better?
Yeah, wrestling can be very easy sometimes.
Yes.
It can just be a case of here's wrestler A, here's wrestler B. Who's better?
Simples.
Yeah.
We don't need to tell this convoluted narrative of nothing. Who is better?
Yeah.
Mercedes wins. But then when the problem is, if Mercedes beats Britt Baker, she gotta go for the title.
Yeah, she has to, yeah.
I thought, and the thing is, what AEW haven't done well is keep the women on the outside of the title picture fresh. But with the men's division, for example, Adam Copeland's coming in, he's not coming straight in for the AEW title. He's feuding with Christian. You know what I'm saying? He's busy doing other things. And then there's, even before he even gets to MJF, he's got a Kenny Omega, he's got a John Moxley, he's got a Danielson, he's got man lined up to where we don't even need to get, we could go a whole year without him even mentioning the title. Mm-hmm. But with the women's division, it feels like Britt Baker, JB Hater when she comes back, and then title.
Yeah,
that's about it. So yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see. We'll move on. I think we are finally on the main event. It took us long enough, but there was a lot to talk about on this show, man. There's a lot to talk about on this show. We have Adam Copeland, the rated R superstar, making his AEW debut against Luchasaurus. But before this match, Christian Cage gets into the ring, and I can't lie, Christian Cage on the mic, his promos are amazing. I'll summarize the key.
Was he always as good on the mic?
Yeah, in TNA he was.
TNA,
as well.
Yeah, but not the yeah.
And TNA he was as well.
Yeah.
He basically explains why he rejected Edge, Adam Copeland, and I can't lie, this is what I do like. I like when heels are dastardly, but their motivations make sense, because his motivation made perfect sense.
The best heels are the heels who are right, but they're being dickheads about it.
Yeah.
Those are the best heels.
Yeah.
Like, those are the best heels.
So his justification, the line that Mekz mentioned earlier, he was addressing Adam Copeland's promo from last week, where Adam Copeland said, hey, these guys in Luchasaurus, in Nick Wayne, are just using you, and once they're done using you, they're going to throw you away. And Christian Cage responded by, I'm not here to be these guys' role model. I'm not here to be these guys' mental. I'm their father. This father gimmick is sensational. And then...
Can I say one thing, though?
Yeah.
I just need him to stop taking jabs at WWE. Just leave it. Just stop. Just stop. When he was like, we mentioned Judgment Day. He said something about dressing up, and I'm like, just stop. You don't just.
But you know what? I feel like in this specific scenario, it made sense. I do agree. For example, when I think of random jabs at WWE, sorry, I don't want to pick on her. I have to go back to Saraya. When Saraya cut the promo on AEW when she debuted, and it's like, Tony Khan lets me wrestle unlike their place there. I'm like, bro, this has nothing to do with nothing.
Your neck was mashed. Don't do that.
Has nothing to do with nothing. We don't care. But with at least Christian Cage, one, we've established he's a super petty character, and two, he's differentiating himself as a mentor, because he got kicked out of his group. But Christian's saying, these man can never kick me because I'm their father. So I get you though. In overall, your point makes sense. I just feel like in this segment, I forgave it because it was like, you know what, contextually it made sense. But his justification for not sided with Edge was that when I was with you in WWE, you didn't want to, and you were having the career of your dreams, and these men didn't recognize me. You weren't reaching out to say let's be a tag team. You weren't reaching out. But now that you've come into my house and you see I'm thriving, now you want to leech off me
You
and
want to
be a
latch
tag
on,
team.
yeah.
I'm like,
I hear
he's
him.
not lying.
Yeah, I hear
He's
him.
not lying. He might not be telling the full truth, but he ain't telling the lie.
Yeah,
He's not,
he's not lying, bro.
He's not lying. You know what I'm saying? Christian is, listen, he's arguably having the best run of his career. Arguably. It's in conversation for some of the best runs he's had as a solo act. And Adam Copeland has come on and tried to automatically revive Edge and Christian. But we'll get to the match. You know what? Luchasaurus looked very dominant against Adam Copeland.
Yeah.
Very dominant. Like he had the majority of the heat in this match, and I was shocked. And I wouldn't say I was concerned, but I was like, is this the way you debut Adam Copeland? But I think it ultimately worked. One thing that about this match that I did adore was the use of the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
Because in AEW, they've conditioned us to wacky spots. And as soon as Luchasaurus planted that steel chair, I mean not steel chair, steel
steps.
steel steps, and then they'll go into the top problem thinking, Edge, this guy's come off neck surgery. Is he gonna take up? And he's been talking about how he loves Darby Allin, and we see the influence that Darby's had on Sting. I said, has Darby infected another one of these old heads again into jumping off things?
Yeah.
But what I do like is that because AEW conditioned us to expect those spots, now there's tension whenever we see these items in the ring. And I like the fact that Adam Copeland didn't have to. He used the thing to do like a spear off the top of the thing, which I'm being honest, the spear was weak, but you know, it is what it is. It was a weak spear. It was all right. But I do like the thought behind the spot because we've been, like I said, we're conditioned to think, oh my god, this spot is used in a certain way, so it subverted our expectations in the match. Then we get Nick Wayne trying to do shenanigans. Then we get eventually we get a spot where the referees are tending to Luchasaurus. Christian basically taunts Adam Copeland with the title. Adam Copeland grabs the title, hits Luchasaurus with the title, and then throws it back onto Christian. Luchasaurus is now looking at Christian like, why the hell did you hit me with the title? Which teases the tension between the two, which I'm enjoying, which I do like. Edge goes for the spear. 1, 2, 3. Edge wins. And then we have a peak WCW AEW 2019 brawl ending.
I loved it.
I think we get
so many stories
intertwined. Yeah. This is what I love. So we get Adam Copeland getting attacked by Nick Wayne.
Can I just say I love Nick Wayne as a heel?
Yeah, for
this is so apropos. Like, bro, that man had a shiv to my neck in my back garden, and you look 2 weeks later, you look the other way.
Absolutely. Nick Wayne is right to be a heel.
Yeah,
absolutely. He needs to get his lip back against Darby as well. Yeah, but so those bear man, we had Gates of that. We had we had the who did we have? We had Blackpool Combat Club.
Yeah, so they come out to back Danielson. Then Gates of Agony come out with Swerve.
Yeah,
and then Hangman Page come out to have arms with Swerve in it. So Baron just scrapping, and then Danielson had my man in the label lock.
Yep, and then obviously we get the shot of Adam Copeland in the ring watching Danielson give Christian the label lock, and we have Edge give him the look where we've seen that look before. It feels like he's setting up for a spear, and then the camera ends. Great ending to Dynamite. Great ending to Dynamite. Overall, what were your thoughts on the show overall, though?
This is a good show. Outside of the 2 vignettes, 3 technically, this is probably one of my favorite Dynamites for a little while. I enjoyed it. I properly enjoyed it. The matches were good. I liked I liked more than any. Do you know what? I know we spoke about it a bit ago, but like obviously the Hobbs Chris Jericho thing, like I like that. I did like that.
Yeah.
I did like the fact that like that side, like kind of Kenny's banged up and Jericho's banged up, and then we didn't even mention the Don Callis promo, the Don Callis Takeshita promo.
Ah, yes, we did. Yep. Don Callis, and do you know what? I'm loving this Don Callis feud. Yeah, I do like it. I need to see more Kenny on TV, man. I just do.
Yeah.
I do, man. I miss. Do you know what? I think what's gonna satiate my appetite as well is I need Kenny back in the main event picture again.
Yeah.
I want Kenny to challenge for the title, not win it. Actually, I don't mind it. It's Kenny Omega. He can win it. I don't care.
Yeah.
But challenge for the title. Show him big, like, because I feel like what Kenny Omega's character is right now, and obviously we can excuse it because he's got stuff going on. But I feel like Kenny Omega has no ambition as a wrestler. Kayfabe. There's not something he wants. Right now, he's feuding Don Callis. Fine. There's not an objective for him in mind. And I feel like throughout AEW, Kenny's always had an objective. Whether it was the beginning of AEW, cool, I'm a tag team champion. During his title run, he was champion. And then when he came back, trios champion. Now, and then middle of the summer, cool, Will Ospreay's on my mind. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, he's got this to deal with, but he feels very passive.
Yeah.
It feels like he's just reacting to things that are happening to him.
Yeah.
I want Kenny Omega to be like an active participant and be like, yo, I have a goal. I want this.
Yeah, I agree. He's a pro wrestling god. You know? He needs to be booked like it. That's just how I see it. It's as simple as that. He's arguably the greatest of all time.
No.
He needs to be booked like it, you know? I don't know how much tread he has left on the tires. And if it's that, then you need to make the most of whatever you left you have on Kenny Omega. You know, and I don't see why Kenny Omega isn't in the title picture. I don't know why isn't Kenny Omega on TV every week? Like even you know me, innit? I don't care about the business. I just want to watch wrestling.
Yeah.
If you're going head to head with WWE, they're coming with The Undertaker and etc. Why is Kenny Omega not on TV?
Why is he not on TV?
I don't understand it.
Why is he not on TV, man?
Yeah.
And obviously he wrestled like last week, but it's like I'm seeing what Danielson's doing. I'm like, bro, these men are age mates, these men are peers, these men are the two GOATs of the company. In terms of like ring. Obviously, maybe you don't want to do alternate. Have Danielson do what he's doing on Collision. Bro, do you know what I'd be sadly doing? Even with this Don Callis feud, I feel like the Danielson Omega might at least happen. I feel like this year they've missed the trick where these men could be competing against each other.
Yeah.
Just have it be a background thing.
Do you think it would have happened at All In though if Danielson didn't break his arm?
I think it definitely would have happened at All In, but bro, we need to get to that match. But I'm so sorry. I'm giving them to Double or Nothing.
Oh, that's a wow.
That's a wow, but that's like no. In fact, no, I can't because I'm using the old pay-per-view cycle. I'm giving them to Revolution.
Yeah.
To Revolution.
Yeah. Because we've got Full Gear. Are you counting Winter is Coming?
There's a rumored pay-per-view in December.
I don't think they need it if they have Winter is Coming.
That match don't need to. I'm sorry. Because remember, that match don't need to be on TV. That match needs pay-per-view.
That's also true.
Because that last match ended in a draw. And I feel like the match needs to go long. Like, it needs to go above 30 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course, AEW don't really be doing long matches like that recently.
No?
Yeah, they had Kenny. He had Kenny and Will. And I feel like if Danielson did break his arm, him and Okada would have got another 10 or 15 minutes. But they don't really be doing because Tony booked 60 match pay-per-views, bro. So it's like...
But I feel like this match warrants it. This match warrants, especially because of the story. But yeah, man.
Yeah.
Well, anyways,
I just don't know. But how do you build to that if BCC and the Elite aren't feuding anymore?
Like we said before, wrestling is simple. Danielson's on this tour of listen, I'm fighting everyone. The same, for example, the exact same way for us New Japan fans, Okada spun the block on Kenny.
Yeah.
Beating this person. There's a draw on my resume. I don't like draws. Who's the better wrestler? Simples.
Yeah.
That's all that match needs. We don't need who. We just need who's the best.
Yeah.
That's the sell of that match. I don't need a vignette showing Kenny Omega as a child playing with dragons, hating. I don't need that. Who's the best? Simple as. I don't need that. I don't need that.
No, I hear you. I hear you, man.
Yeah, man. This has been a dope episode of Revolution.
Yeah, man.
Radio.
It's been a pleasure, man. Thank you.
Big up. Yep. Before we go, though, it says December 30th is apparently the pay-per-view date. But yeah, man, Atlas, tell the people where they can find you at, man, on social media.
Yeah. So Twitter and Instagram is at Atlas8S. Also, you can find me in the AOT Pod, Apes on Tape podcast. But yeah, man, big up wrestlings, big up NK, man. It's always a pleasure to talk some graps, man. Always a pleasure.
Of course, man. We love having you on the show, man. Make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. I appreciate everyone who's in the comment section as well. We appreciate you guys' comments every time, man. If you would like, become a member. No, if you would like, become a member. The rest of this podcast, you get access to our Discord. You get exclusive access to early content. You get to be a part of the community. You get to be a part of the members. Make sure you subscribe. We've got obviously our flagship podcast coming out tomorrow on a Friday. Tune in for that one. And yeah, man, we've got more great wrestling content for you. We've got a lot of Black History Month content. Some of your favorite content creators or friends of the show will be appearing on the channel, man. So yeah, big up everyone who's tuned into the show. It's been Revolution Radio. It's been NK. I'm signing out. We'll catch you guys next week.
Pleasure.